go to Colombia, where Colombia is facing a critical juncture as it attempts to end the armed conflict that has ravaged the nation for more than 50 years. With the prospects for peace finally on the horizon, thousands of residents are taking to the streets of the capital, Bogota. We go to our correspondent now, Natalia Margarita.
Hi, Cody. Yes, since very early this morning, around 9 a.m., 8:30, I would say local time, hundreds of Colombians have been arriving here to this point where we are to join this historic March for Peace. Around 10 a.m. local time, Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos arrived here to join the demonstration. But also different social organizations, members of Colombia's unionist movement, indigenous people, political leaders, leaders from the rural areas of Colombia, and in general Colombians from all ages and backgrounds are united today in a common cause, which is to express their support to the peace process underway in Havana, but also to send a clear message to the government. And this is that it is time for a bilateral ceasefire, that it is also time for finally starting a formal peace negotiation with the second largest guerrilla group in Colombia, the ELN. But also they have been saying, the people present here have been saying, peace yes, but with social justice. But why this march is taking place right today on April the 9th? To understand the importance and significance of this date in Colombian history, I would like to invite you to see the following reportage. On the 9th of April 1948, prominent political leader Jorge Eliezer Gaitán was gunned down. Back then, Victor was just 1 year old, but still vividly remembers and with deep sorrow the love and admiration his father felt for the liberal politician.
Gaitán was an educated man in every single field. My father taught us how his assassination was motivated by envy, because Gaitán wanted a dignified country, a divine country, very different from the one we are currently living in.
Political analysts agree that Colombian history would have developed differently if Gaitán wouldn't have been assassinated.
His death was a turning point in history. I believe that if Gaitán, who was a popular leader for the masses, was still alive, democracy could have been deepened.
Gaitán's death came in a moment in which power was being disputed between two parties, the liberal and the conservative. While conservative Mariano Espina was in power, peasants were denied land rights, workers their labor rights. But Gaitán was that liberal leader always by their side, fighting for better conditions for the poor.
And that led to Gaitán gaining significant importance in the wake of the coming elections. His death meant the thwarting of a whole movement of peasants, workers, and even intellectuals of the time.
Minutes after his assassination, thousands of angry followers took to the streets in what is known in Colombian history as the Bogotazo. Buildings were set on fire, violent clashes with security forces took place, thousands were reported injured and dead. The turmoil rapidly expanded to other regions and rural areas. It was just the beginning of a period of widespread violence.
What in Colombia's history is known as the violence between liberals and conservatives, in reality was a war between the dominant classes against the people of the rural areas.
The truth behind Gaitán's assassination was never clarified. However, the episode is remembered among Colombians as a political crime orchestrated by those who were in power at the time.
His death exposes the way in which Colombian elites and dominant classes prevent, at whatever cost, that an alternative political project can emerge and consolidate itself in this country.
He was an extremely well-prepared man. He came up with great ideas, and that's why for the politicians at the time, he was not seen as a positive way. That's why they assassinated him.
The assassination of Jorge Eliezer Gaitán 67 years ago has been considered here in Colombia as a turning point in the development of the violence that for more than 5 decades have left millions of victims in Colombia. Now, since 2011, this important date, the 9th of April, was declared as the National Day for the memory and solidarity with those victims, and that is the reason why this March for Peace is taking place right today, the 9th of April. Hundreds of Colombians that, as I said before, have been arriving here to this point since the morning already start marching for around 6 kilometers towards Simón Bolívar Park, where this important march is going to conclude later in the afternoon with a special concert that is named the Concert for Peace, in which renowned Latin Latin American salsa singer Ruben Blades is going to participate, and he's going to sing his songs for peace, for the peace of Colombia, the reason why all these people is together today. We go back to you in our studios in Caracas, Cody. We will keep you bringing the latest updates as this important march develops here in Bogota. Natalia Margarita, Telesur.
And we're going to take a look now at some of the important steps of Colombia's peace process along the way. The talks between FARC rebels and the Colombian government began on October 3rd, 2013, and the agenda has been defined by 5 key points. Those include land reform, political participation, a conflict-ending ceasefire, illegal drugs, the rights of victims, and the implementation of a final accord. Partial agreements have been reached on 3 of the 4 agenda points. Still pending victims' rights, a bilateral ceasefire, and a final peace deal.